Nice Guy Rides here, coming at you back with some decisions. Yeah, I made some decisions. That's right. Okay, so I know it's been a while, been a little lazy on the videos because truthfully, every time I was thinking about it, I was depressed because I hadn't gone the TAT Trail yet and I felt guilty about it. But I'm going to change all that because now I've got renewed vision and a new passion for this, again, renewed, I guess, because truthfully, I've again decided this is something I want to do. I've been wanting to do it for a long time. And in this, a lot of things have happened over the last few years that have really made this even more of an exciting thing in terms of, looking at the options that I have in terms of motorcycles. So that's what this video is about, because I've made a recent decision lately. I put $100 down on deposit on a bike because I've decided that I want this bike and I want to go on it. Now, I want you right now, if you can guess what bike that is, put it down in the comments before you hear what I say, because I'm about to tell you what it is. Anyway, if you're right, I'll be impressed. Anyway, a lot of new bikes have come out. And I know I've already gone over a lot of the older bikes that we talked about, but so many new bikes have come out. Just to kind of review them all. The biggest one that came out was the Tenere 700. This is a great bike, but man, they missed it on the weight. Come on. They were so close. I really wanted this bike to be right around, right under the 400-pound magic number bike, but it wasn't. It's a little porkier than that. Not too terribly more, but yeah, it could be lighter. It is a big bike. And when I look at it and I'm like, oh, do I want to take that across country? Do I want to get off on some of these trails on that bike? I'm kind of a little bit intimidated by that. It's got a lot of power, a lot of weight, and I got to get that thing through a lot of terrain that I may not be, familiar with. So I was looking for a little something lighter. KTM came out with 790, 890. They were great bikes. I mean, 790, 890, what's with that? It's like, took them a year and all of a sudden it's bigger. But those bikes to me are for professional riders. I don't need all that bike, and they're very expensive. So no, thank you. And the regular, the non-rally version didn't have, I don't know. It's not what I'm looking for. So I kind of wrote those off. I went a lighter, funner bike. Remember, I had the WR 250R for a short time. I had to park it most of the time because I didn't have a place to store it where I lived, so I didn't get to ride it as much as I wanted to. But I did get to ride it enough to realize that that's not the bike I want to go cross country on. And if I did, I'd have to upgrade it a lot and spend a lot more money on it. Even though it had a lot of the features that I would have done already, it didn't have the main ones like a bigger fuel tank. Needed some kind of fairing, which wouldn't have been that expensive. I could have put some kind of plastic shield up there or something. And mainly it didn't have the suspension work done, which I had already gotten a price on, and I was like, oh, I can get that done. But then we bought a house. So I sold it. Because truthfully, it wasn't the bike. It wasn't the bike that I wanted. So along comes all these new bikes coming out again. What else has come out? The 390 Adventure, the KTM did, and that bike was depressing. It's a bike built for India, not the United States. Come on, KTM, give us what we want. It's like they pulled a Honda. That's what I said. They pulled a Honda, the CB500X, okay, and the KTM 390 Adventure is the same. It's basically the same concept. Why do you do that? All you have to do is put spoke wheels on that sucker. Okay? Put spoke wheels on it, give it a good suspension, and you've got a great bike. Why? Same thing, BMW did the same thing. Why don't you put spoke rims on the GS? Okay? So annoying. It really does bother me. I mean, literally. I mean, new rims are expensive. It costs a lot of money, like $1,000. So yeah, I don't want to buy a bike and have to upgrade the rims. So yeah, KTM was out. But it was exciting that it came out for a while because I was like, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? And then it came out and I was like, oh man, really? And now they're doing the same thing with the 490. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to come out with a 490, you know, and what's that going to be? Is it going to be adventure-y? And then Honda's, you know, putting all this stuff out about the, what is it? The, oh gosh. They're bringing back their Adventure 500. And I don't know if that's going to be a twin or single cylinder. I'll have to remember what that is. I keep forgetting what it's going to be. But they've earmarked the name again. And I'm like, come on. This better be an adventure bike if you're going to bring it out. Anyway, so none of those bikes really did it for me. I'm trying to think of what else came out. Oh, yeah. Ducati came out with their little Scrambler Desert X thing, which was sweet, but expensive. Let's see. Anything else? I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but a lot of stuff came out, except for the two that really interested me the most. Because when these two came out, I was like, ooh. Because if you remember when I was talking earlier about bikes that I wanted to take, I was talking about these 250s, the Honda and the Kawasaki 250s, that I was like, those aren't powerful enough for me. I don't feel comfortable on highways, you know, riding those. And truthfully, that's what I felt like on the WR. I felt like it didn't have enough power. He had geared it a little lower. So yeah, that was probably part of the problem, but it was really buzzy and that thing was loud. I probably would have had to change back the stock exhaust on that thing because it had an aftermarket exhaust and all the ECU stuff going on. It was loud, man. I do not want a bike that loud. I did discover that. Let me just tell you that right now. But anyway, Kawasaki and Honda both decided, hey, we're going to put 300s in our bikes. And I was like, whoa, what's that going to be like? So when those came out and I started seeing all these these different reviews of them, I realized that the KLX had the package, man. It was like a nice little dual sport, you know. I could throw a bigger tank on there. I could put a fairing on there and put some, you know, it's pretty much all there. And I was like, yeah, this is a great bike. But then time went by, and the more and more I read about it, the more and more I realized that I actually kind of realized that any bike that I get, I'm going to have to upgrade the suspension. I'm going to have to spend some money upgrading the suspension. The KLX, the stock spring on that thing is too light for my weight. I weigh, you know, with gear on and stuff like that, I'm a little over 200 pounds. So the stock spring rate is not going to work for me. And plus putting gear and baggage on the back of the bike, yeah, I'm going to have to do some suspension work. So if I'm going to do suspension work anyway, the suspension really doesn't matter. So that actually threw the Honda right back into the running. And then all of a sudden I'm looking at the CRF 300L Rally and I'm like, that's got the bigger fuel tank. It actually looks good with the fuel tank. Doesn't look like one of those old Safari tanks that's all plastic and ugly looking. I know that's, you know, people are like, you shouldn't care. I care, okay? I want my bike to look cool. So, and it's got this rally fairing on it that's just awesome. It makes it look like a rally bike, which I'm like, that's cool. And I'm going to have to adjust the suspension anyway. I'm going to have to change out the suspension anyway, so I might as well do it on this bike that's already kind of set up for adventure riding. So yeah, I looked at it and I'm like, I'm just going to go ahead and get this Honda. So I marched myself down to the Honda dealership and I said, what's the waiting time? And they're like, well, you put $100 down, you got to wait till like the end of the year. And I'm like, okay, we'll do that, which is good anyway, because it gives me time to research more and to do things that I want to do. And again, I have plans. Another thing that really tipped the scales to Honda was the fact that Rally Raid has decided to adopt the CRF 300L as its new kind of adventure bike. They kind of adopt bikes. They had the CB500X. They had the GS310. They have the KTM. I think they have some KTM 690 maybe. But they have all these bikes that they kind of adopt and they make stuff for. And Rally Ray decided, hey, we're going to do this to the CRF 300L. And they've been doing it. So they have a new suspension package for the CRF 300L Rally that you can put in there, and you got a much better suspension than stock. And that pretty much, in my opinion, will bring that bike up to where it needs to be. Slap on some hand guards, put on some panniers, maybe a bash plate on the bottom, and you're good to go. I can go cross country on that sucker. And that's what my plans are. And I'm excited about it because I've been waiting a long time for this. Been planning it for a long time, thinking about it for a long time, dragging you guys along with me for a long time. And I finally made the decision. This is the bike. Now, caveat to that. I don't know what they're going to come out with in the next year before I get to go on the trail. So who knows what's going to happen between now and September. There are a lot of speculations and rumors. Again, this 500cc Honda thing. I really forgot what that's called. But anyway, that might come out. There's rumors of the Himalaya 450, which may have a little more top-end power to get it up on the highways as you're going up hills and things like that. Trying to think of what else is out there. I'm not really big on the Himalayan the dependability of that bike. I am really stoked about having a Honda. The Hondas are super dependable, bulletproof in my opinion. I would not have to worry about that bike. Someone was like adding up the cost of a CRF 300L Rally the other day, and it added up like $10,000. I'm like, what you talking about? And they're like, well, you gotta buy the extended warranty and you gotta get theft protection and all this stuff. I'm like, you crazy, man. It's a Honda. You buy a Honda because it ain't gonna break. So anyway, so I'm excited about that. And what another KTM. I'd like to see what the 490 ends up being if they come out with that. That's a possibility. It may come out. So who knows? Maybe, just maybe, Yamaha decides to throw a 300 of its own in the ring, which would be very, very interesting because I did like my Yamaha in some parts of it. But again, it just on the highway, I didn't feel comfortable with it. But again, these new Hondas, the new KLX has this really tall gearing, so it sits really well on the highway apparently. Right about 70 miles an hour, which I'm fine with because I don't speed anyway. So yeah, that could be it. We'll see. Most likely, that's my planned vehicle right now. And I will probably do some follow-up videos on this, on some of the upgrades that I want to do to my CRF 300L Rally when I get it. And the great thing is now I have a garage, and in that garage I can do all this work, so it can save me a lot of money and not have to take it to the dealership to do this stuff. And I can actually show you guys while I'm doing it. So who knows what's in store for Nice Guy Rides, but it will be writing because I miss it. I want to get back to it. And that TAT Trail is calling my name in a big way. So thanks for watching. Thanks for keeping up with me. If you haven't already, subscribe and follow this crazy adventure. And guys, it's best to subscribe because the way things going, I don't know exactly when I'm going to be posting videos, but eventually I'm going to have a whole lot of videos on this channel because I'm going to go on the TAT Trail. And it'll just be a slow burn till I get there. And then it's just going to be boom, 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 boom. As soon as I get that bike, I'll be doing a lot of videos. And again, up till then, I'll probably do some videos on some of the different choices that I'm making in terms of products to put on the bike. Because I know I'm going to have to get a bash plate. I know I'm going to have to get I'm trying to decide whether or not I'm going to get the crash bars on the side or not. I'm going to have to get, tail tidies and back racks and panniers and all of those different decisions I'm going to have to make. And then I can take you through the process of the rally raid suspension, which I really, really am excited about. That Rally Raid is adopting this bike. I'm watching videos as we speak of them testing this new suspension. So it's really gotten me excited about it again. That's why I went down and put my deposit on it. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I can be the next tester. Yeah. I'm sure a million people will get there before I get there because I'm not getting my bike until later this year. But again, that's good because it'll give me time to save more money and to prepare. So right now I'm researching and working out so I can get in shape. So I'll be in shape by the time I get on the trail. Hopefully y'all come along with me. Later.